Joining me now is New York Congressman and member of the House Financial Services Committee, Mike Lawler. Congressman, good morning to you and your reaction to what he told me yesterday.
Well, I think obviously at the end of the day, this is a math equation. You have a tax bill that will expire at the end of this year. And if we don't pass a tax bill, it will be the single largest tax increase in American history. And so the objective is to negotiate a tax bill that provides middle class tax relief and makes permanent many of the provisions of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act from 2017. And so that's what we're in the process of negotiating. I think what the chairman is saying ultimately is that everything's on the table from the standpoint of negotiating a bill and making the numbers work. Obviously, President Trump has key provisions that he wants to enact as part of this, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, lifting the cap on salt. So a lot of the focus is on how we provide middle-class tax relief to working-class families all across this country who, after the last 4 years, have suffered under high inflation, high grocery prices, high energy costs, and a high overall cost of living, including housing. So there's a lot of work ahead. This is all going to be negotiated in the coming weeks and months. But, you know, I certainly think the broad objective here is to make permanent the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act while addressing some of the key provisions as outlined by the administration.
So you're not willing to say whether or not you would support a millionaire's tax, because that would certainly impact your district.
Look, my district is one of the highest tax districts in the country. My objective is to cut taxes. I think, obviously, the top tax rate, bringing it down from 39.6 to 37%, was extremely helpful in jumpstarting the economy, along with doubling the standard deduction. Obviously, any tax increase is going to have an impact, and generally speaking, a negative impact, restricting flow of capital. But the objective here is to have an overall tax bill that addresses the economic needs of the middle class and the vast majority of Americans. That's my focus. That's why lifting the cap on salt for an area like mine is so important. As I said, we pay the highest property taxes in America in Westchester and Rockland counties. Getting that state and local tax relief is paramount. So we're working through all this. I think, obviously, as the chairman said, I'm not on Ways and Means. They are working through it. That is a focus that they will have.
So where are we with salt, Congressman? I mean, I know that you're refusing to vote for any bill that does not include a raise of the state and local tax deduction. This definitely impacts your district. You've been very vocal about it. Where are we? Can you give us a number that might be discussed? Maybe it's a $20,000 cap, a $30,000 cap?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that would be woefully insufficient. If nothing gets done and the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expires, the cap on salt is eliminated entirely, and it would be unlimited again. However, it would be associated with the largest tax increase ever, and you would get the alternative minimum tax to come back in full force, and that would be devastating for a state like New York. So this is in negotiation. President Trump has been very clear with me, with Chairman Smith, with Speaker Johnson about his support for lifting the cap on salt, which has been extremely helpful as we work through these negotiations. I introduced legislation earlier this year that would lift the cap to $100,000 for individuals, $200,000 for married couples, and we will negotiate through this process. I'm not going to do it in the press, but we will certainly negotiate in these coming weeks. I know we have been working with Ways and Means on the numbers and the administration. So I'm confident when all is said and done, we will have a tax bill that will lift the cap on salt and provide real tax relief to middle-class families, which is what my focus is.
Yeah, well, certainly, again, members of your district are watching closely for that. The state of New York is watching you very closely right now, Congressman. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik is now considering a run for New York governor. Recent polling from Marist finds less than 40% of New Yorkers approve of Governor Hochul. More than half of residents do not want her to run again. Congressman, your thoughts on this? I know there's been reports that you were considering a run for governor. Are you considering a run for governor of New York State?
Yes, I am. Obviously, Elise and I both agree Kathy Hochul is a disaster. She is the most incompetent, feckless governor in America and has created a calamity in New York. We lead the nation in outmigration, have the highest tax burden, the worst business climate. The quality of life has declined significantly with rampant crime, the migrant crisis, decaying infrastructure. So there are a lot of challenges in New York. I believe we need a very strong candidate in 2026, someone who has a proven track record of winning in tough districts. I've flipped a 2-to-1 Democratic district in 22, won it by 6.5 points while Kamala Harris won. So we're going through that process now. We'll make a decision by June. And certainly at the end of the day, make sure that we have a very strong candidate to run and beat Kathy Hochul in 2026.
So by June, we'll know whether it's going to be you or Congresswoman Stefanik. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the process will unfold. Obviously, next year we'll have a convention in January, and petitions, I think, go out in February. But ultimately, I'll make my decision by June, and I'll make my decision solely based on whether or not I believe there's a pathway to win. It won't be determined by anybody else. And ultimately, we'll make a decision who can make the best case to New Yorkers and defeat Kathy Hochul, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. New York is the greatest state in the country, and unfortunately, under one-party Democratic rule over the last 20 years, it has declined because of these disastrous policies. So we need to give New Yorkers hope. We need to give them a reason to vote for Republicans. It can't just be Democrats bad. We have to present a vision about how we're going to fix this state, reduce the tax burden, increase energy production in New York. We have the Marcellus Shale in the southern tier. That is critical. We need to bring manufacturing back, build housing again in this state, and keep Wall Street here, which has been the golden goose for so many years. And yet we see under Democrats, it is leaving New York because of their disastrous high tax, high cost of living policies that have crippled our economy.
Congressman, I've only got about 20 seconds left with you, but real quick, Congressman Austin Scott was with me yesterday. He mentioned about changes to Medicaid and how that could be a part of budget negotiations, basically pulling away federal funding from Medicaid programs, meaning that a state like New York would have to pay more for Medicaid and that the federal government would pay less. Do you have a position on that before you go?
Hell no. New York is a donor state. We pay more into the federal government than we get back. I'm adamantly opposed to changing the FMAP floor from 50% federal share to 45% federal share. That will be a hard no. The fact is that we are going to protect Medicaid for the most vulnerable and those who need these services, including the IDD community, our seniors, children, single mothers. We will make sure that there is citizenship verification so that illegal immigrants are not getting Medicaid benefits like the $1.2 billion that New York is spending on illegal immigrants. We will make sure there are work requirements for able-bodied adults without dependent children. And we will increase eligibility verification from an annual basis to a quarterly basis. Beyond that, I'm not going to consider any changes that cut benefits to anyone, period.
Congressman Mike Lawler, always a pleasure to have you on the program. Come back anytime. It's great to see you, sir.
Thank you.